So I picked up a new iPad Pro.
Woo! Happy
Um,
birthday.
yeah, my so I had the original 9.7-inch iPad Pro,
That's the best size right there.
and over the past 6 months or so, it's just continually gotten flakier and flakier. And I don't use it an awful lot, but it is my entertainment when I row, so it is important enough for me to have an iPad available. And so looked at, all right, do I want to do just like the iPad Air? Or do I want to go back to a mini that works fine? Just
No,
what
not
do I
a
want to
mini.
do?
Not a mini.
And I decided I would go ahead and do the 11-inch iPad Pro and try to figure out what workflows I can do that benefit having the smaller laptop and all too, and just see, give it a shot. I don't know that I will find anything else I use for it, but with the whole continuity thing and being able to use the iPad as a tablet and the photo editing stuff, I feel like it's a good time to try it.
I'm looking at
And then
Apple's.
the
Go ahead.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm looking at Apple's website because I wanted to look at the iPads and it's got the Apple logo, and then it goes store on the. This is the top bar. Currently store Mac iPad. There it is. I missed it. Never mind. I was gonna say iPad is curiously missing from the top row. AirPods has its own.
And then I also decided it could be useful for attempting to manage the soccer roster as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, there's a song called "Dealing with the Roster." It's from the Blade soundtrack. Check it out.
I will. I probably will recognize it when I hear it.
Yeah. iPad Pro. They dropped the 9.5, right? They just have the 11 and the 13.
The 11
But
is the smallest.
But it's because of the bezel. They could get more into that size, right?
Right. So it doesn't, I mean, it is slightly larger than the 9.7 was, I believe. I haven't held them side by side, but it doesn't feel bigger.
Right, right.
Like physically. I mean, it feels bigger from a visual standpoint, but it doesn't feel bigger physically. So
I'm trying to think why I would go. I mean, I was going to say, I was trying to think why would I go for a Pro over an Air, but it's only $200. And I don't know. I feel
that's kind of where I ended up with. It's like, well, for the price difference, at least with the Pro, I have the M2, and I can actually legitimately play with some of the other things that might actually be worth playing with.
I don't know why you would get a Mini, though. I mean, other than if you just really want it that small, but it's like $100 different from $100 less than the Air, and
The only reason we still have a Mini is because of Jacob. I got a Mini for him just because of his hand size.
Well, I've got two Minis, but they're old enough that the latest OS they run is iOS 12. So, but they were a lot. They were less at the time. They were less. They were a lot less expensive too. So,
yeah, I don't remember. I know when I ordered the one for him, it didn't seem like it was that expensive, and I don't remember if it was just because I did like a trade-in on an older iPad when a trade-in was actually worth something, and that made the difference, or I don't remember what the circumstances were, but there was some reason that it was like looking at it, I could get an iPad mini with whatever I was doing for like $100 difference, or $100 out of pocket rather. And it's like, why not? It's the right size for him. It'll last for a while, and I don't have to worry about him breaking my iPad.
I feel like the Mini was like priced like you would expect a Mini to be a long time. I just don't feel like it's priced that way right now, especially with the 10th and the 9th and 10th generation iPads being the price that they are.
Well, and for the hardware being so much better in the 9th and 10th generations.
Yeah.
Or at least the 10th.
Yeah. Like the 10th is basically a larger Mini.
Yeah.
Because I think even it's $50 less. I think it has it's got the A14 Bionic, which I don't know what that means anymore. Okay, the Mini has the A15 Bionic, so it's a bit better. But I mean, I think there's very little that anyone's ever going to notice between those two, the performance between those two. Anyway. Uh, since we're talking about Apple things, you had a thing in your notes about Apple, and
I did, but it's not the Apple company. It's to follow
uh,
up on the apple
oh, the
from the
Apple.
orchard.
Okay, so then my sub point makes no sense whatsoever. It's not
I
really.
laughed when I saw it, and I left it intentionally.
Okay, well then it's gonna
Um,
stay there for funsies.
that's fine. So I actually did go back and look for the receipt from the orchard and figure out what the apple was, and unfortunately, the receipt it just rings up as quote small apples. So
That's
I have no
unfortunate.
clue what the uh, species apple it was, or
Variety.
not species, variety. Species was too broad a category.
Yeah, because I think all apples are the same. I would expect all apples are the same species.
Yeah, variety is what I was meaning to say. So what I will have to do instead is the next time that we go to the orchard, I'm gonna have to see if they happen to have it, and that's the first opportunity for that. It's gonna be December, so we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will be on pins and needles until then.
My
No, I
luck, they're
really
not
do.
going to have the same varieties anyway. Because
But they'll.
the first year we were out there, I don't remember this variety being there.
But they may. Somebody there may know and remember what the variety is. So
Yeah, maybe.
yeah. So my Apple thing was going to be. I was just thinking about this today. I was like, there were rumors about a. So there's like Apple, Apple Silicon is, you got the M1, the M2, and then the variants that come from those, and it's like the Pro and then the Max, and you're like, okay, the Max is it, it's the top, and then it's like, and then the Ultra, and I was like, what? And I was like, wait, I thought Max was the end of the, end of the spectrum here, and so then there was rumors of a quad. So the Ultra is basically two Max, two M2 or M1 or M2 Max that are with an interposer between the two. And then there was talk of a quad one, so it'd be like I would expect, I guess, four Maxes. And I was like, what do you think that? I was just thinking about what I came up with, like, I bet this is the marketing name, or like at least I'd want this to be the marketing name because it'd be ridiculous. I was gonna say, have you had any thoughts about this?
I haven't specifically, but if it were me, I would really embrace the whole "we can't name things"
Yeah,
mantra
yeah.
and go from. We'll just use the M2 lineup. So you'd have M2 Pro, Max, Ultra, and then Ultra Max.
Yes, that's what I came up with too. I was like, yes, you got to go. You can't not do Ultramax. And I was like, that. Then it's like, okay, it's so ridiculous. It's like, yes, this is the right thing. This is the right name, Ultramax.
Yeah, I'm glad we're in agreement then.
Yeah. So I had this thought, and I've been eagerly awaiting Apple to announce doing an event in the next couple of weeks, because it's usually around the second week of. So it's never. I don't think they'll do it on. I can't remember. I think they have done it on a 9/11 before, but Tuesday. So it's never going to be the week of Labor Day. It's usually the week after. Yeah, they usually do the announcement the week after Labor Day, which is usually my birthday week. But they don't do it on 9/11. So, but 9/11's a Monday. And it's not a Monday thing. So I hadn't seen if they had announced that they were going to talk about anything like iPhone stuff.
And they did officially confirm
Yes,
the 12th,
yes.
didn't they? Yeah.
Yes, they
I thought
did.
so.
They did. Yep. So that's exactly what I thought. And so I've been eagerly awaiting, because I would like to buy a new iPhone and an Apple Watch.
So I haven't really paid attention to rumors, and I'm nowhere near like the past month in podcasts either. So I don't really know what the expectations or leaks or supposed leaks or anything else are, which is fine because I kind of enjoy it more when I don't have
Okay, so you don't
assumptions.
want me to say anything.
I don't care if you say anything, because I'm going to treat it all as the same rumor that it,
Yeah.
The way I've always approached Apple events is it's always a rumor until Apple says it.
Yeah. That's the Apple retail in you.
Yeah. But the one thing that does have my interest, and I don't know to what extent anything has been rumored, but the black version of the titanium watch, the Ultra, there was at least a picture or a mock-up with I guess a titanium band as well. The watch itself, like that, I don't typically prefer black for a watch anyway, so I don't know that I would be uh, interested in that watch, but I would be interested in that band with my existing watch.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what gets announced, and I'm not opposed to a black watch. I've just worn stainless steel for so long prior to the Apple Watch that to me watches should be something in that vein of color, not black. And I know there are plenty of watches that are black and plenty of people that love black watches. I'm not knocking it at all. It's just my personal watch history has never included a black watch other than the old like Casio G-Shock.
I think, yeah, the normal Apple Watch I think it looks good in black or whatever color it is, whatever version. I guess it's space gray. I don't know what it is.
They've changed it a few times. I mean, the stainless steel one I had was the darker color, but
it wasn't
that one's
black.
difficult. Yeah, it wasn't technically black. But those are difficult because there's so little of the metal that you really see.
Yeah, and what I was gonna say, I think like even if you have like the aluminum, if it's straight up just like black as can be, then I think that fits. Just I think that's fine. But I'd agree with you about the. I think it would be like the Apple Watch Ultra. I think it being black would be. I don't know. I don't. It doesn't sound appealing. I think that raw titanium color is like really a lovely color.
I am looking forward to seeing what they do with the phone, though, just to see if there's a big change or not.
I haven't seen. Well, I was going to say. I think that I haven't seen any rumors for the watch, the Ultra, and maybe I haven't dug enough. But the rumors for the iPhone 15 is same sizes, dynamic island on all the models, and that's like one of the things like I'm actually kind of like really interested in getting. Because I've been using the 13 and I'm like, oh, that's such a cool feature. It's fun and whimsical. I really like. I don't want to say I'm a sucker for that, but I think the enclosure for the phone is supposed to be just not rounded edges like the iPhone 10, but somewhere in between the edges that we have now and the edges of the iPhone 10. I think that would be a nice change. Just ever so like instead of it just those edges coming together, just a little bit of rounding on them. I think would. I think for the Pro, there's go ahead.
And just on the edges. I know that I've long been a proponent of the flat sides, like they are, like on the current models. The only phones that I consistently lost my grip on have been the ones in between the 4 series and going back to the flat sides, the kind of rounded edge.
The 5 had a flat edge, and then they had those beveled edge. There's a bevel on it.
Yeah, I mean the 5, the 5S, both.
That was a big thing.
It was the 6 that went to the rounded
yes
edges, and starting with the 6, I pretty much dropped every phone until they went back to the flat edges.
Well, I was gonna say I didn't mind them as much as you do. Actually, I like them, and I like the flat edges. I think the iPhone 4 was like one of my favorite phones. It was for so many reasons. It's one of my favorite phones. But it still have flat sides, or the rumors that I've seen, it still have flat sides. It would just not be like a flat side that goes up to an edge. There would be some, I don't know. It would be like a squircle, like whatever. Like this would be like a 3-dimensional squircle.
No, I follow. So it's basically the flat sides and then kind of rounding onto the surface glass instead of just a. I don't know what it. I mean, it sounds nice, but I would be curious about the hit to durability, or if it would be an improvement in durability. Because to me, that seems like it would be a little bit of a hit, depending on how it lands.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Well, one of the rumors is that the Pro is going to be made from titanium instead of steel, which I really look forward to because I don't like how heavy the steel is. Assuming that will make a noticeable difference. I just think the phone is just ever so slightly too heavy.
I always think that's funny because I love the weight of the phone. I love it having it feel like it's a good, solid object in my hand.
Well, I like it feeling solid, but I don't like it to be, like I don't like it to be light either. I just think it's where I notice the heaviness is, and this is the only place I notice the heaviness is just like one-handed use in like when I'm lying down or sitting, like when I'm trying to watch something in landscape.
That makes sense because I don't do that. That's not a use case for me.
Yeah. So every other time, like when I'm standing and holding it normally, it's fine. I was a big fan of until I lost it. I was a big fan of the travel what is it? Peak
It's
Designs.
the mobile tripod.
The mobile tripod. It was great on it was great on an airplane. I loved it. And I left it in a hotel room, and I'm disappointed in myself for that. So, but the other thing I thought you'd be very interested in, I think this is the pro model for the pro models, but a periscope zoom lens.
I don't know. It's one of those things that I never really gave a lot of thought to it because to me the gimmick aspect of it, or it feels like there's a gimmick aspect to it, I guess is what I should say, because I've never used one. I have a lot of questions about it, and I don't know if I would like it or not, or if it would end up getting in the way.
I'm assuming that it's not even something that you would notice physically, other than like when I zoom, I get a much better optical zoom than if I didn't have it.
And that I would be fine with. It's just the way I've heard things talked about. It sounds like it would be when engaged, it would actually protrude like a periscope.
If it did that, I think that would be stupid.
And I just don't want the moving part, honestly.
I can understand that as well. So,
especially when I have a nice, comfortable mirrorless that has really high quality lenses anyway, I'll grab it,
Yeah. The other thing was USB-C. It's going to switch from Lightning to USB-C. Which
I have been watching that a little bit, and I know it's driven out of the EU legislation, or I assume it is anyway. I don't care either way. I mean, at this point, I have so many of both cables, it really doesn't matter. And I don't really plug in a lightning cable to the phone other than every once in a blue moon.
Yeah, it's for me, it's one of those things where it's like, I definitely was mindful of how many lightning cables I purchased over the last 5 or 6 years, expecting this. Like I think it's a good idea. It won't change. Yeah. Like you, I won't change. It won't change. It's just more, I think it's just like, the big difference is like what I pack in my bag, what I want to have packed. It makes a difference.
Yeah. Same for me. And even then, not by much, it would be, I'd get to remove my singular USB-C to lightning cable that I keep in there depending on whether I might need it, and just leave my USB-C to USB-C cable.
I'm still gonna need a lightning cable for my AirPods and is there something else that I have that's lightning? AirPods.
Well, I mean, if I wanted to charge it with a cable, but I also have the wireless charging case for mine.
I have the wireless charging case, but I end up charging with a cable. A lot of times it's because I was like, I don't pay attention to the battery of the case, because it just works so well. And then I'm like, oh, shoot, the battery of the case, I forgot. And so there's been a number of times like, wait, why aren't these charged?
Where you just need the speed of a wired connection.
I need the speed of a wired connection.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I also don't like, I don't have a normal, hey, I'm going to set my AirPods here to charge. Like if I had a location with like wireless charging for them, that would be less of an issue.
Yeah, and see, I think I talked about it on the show, but it was, 6 months, 8 months ago, something like that, where I completely revamped a lot of the stuff that I have. So I bought 2 or 3, I don't remember for sure, of the USB-C to MagSafe charging puck things.
Yeah.
And I have an extra fast charging cable for the watch set up upstairs, as well as the one that I normally use to travel with. And then I've got, I think, two other just random wireless charging bases sitting around in different places. Like, I basically made the effort to say no matter what room I'm in, I have access to wireless charging for phone and AirPods. And so whenever I think about it, I'll just set the AirPods on one of the chargers.
Yeah. That seems like a good way to go. I think like I have three of these spruce, and
I didn't realize you had that many of them.
so I bought one, and Becca bought one. We were before we moved in together, and I bought a second one um, to leave a review on Amazon, and so my friend was like, "Hey, if you would buy one, so you can leave a review on Amazon, and I'll buy it back from you. Don't open it. I'll buy it back from you, and I'll hold on to this." And so now it's downstairs. So I've got one on my desk. Becca's got hers on her desk, and there's one downstairs in the living room. The only problem is like you have to be, you got to line up the AirPods to the to where the charging coil is. So I tend not to use it. I have my phone sitting on one right now.
Yeah, I have mine on my desk, and that's the one place where I use the cable to plug in the AirPods, just so I don't have to adjust the phone part.
Yeah, I have a lightning cable coming out of the side of the spruce, and that's typically where I charge my AirPods. So I also get the same. What was when my computer was plugged into the side of the spruce?
Yeah, there was a hum.
A hum. I know. What's the word I'm looking? Interference. I get the same interference on MagSafe as well.
Huh.
But the battery on these things lasts so damn long.
Yeah, that has been something that I've really had to adjust to. Like I am not accustomed to being able to do anything and everything I need to do for a day on battery power.
I know. I was sitting using this for work. I have this, and it still said 100% battery power, and it's like, damn.
So I did. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say on my Intel one, like felt like I had great battery power on it, but it wasn't all day battery power.
Yeah, no. So I did get my 16-inch for work, and I'll plug it up first thing in the morning and work on it and let it charge, and then I'll unplug it and work the rest of the day on battery power.
Oh, I can get a full day. If I start out at 100%, I can go a full. I think then some.
I probably could too. What I haven't really tried to stress it out. What I do is I'll come down, log in, take a look. If the little icon looks like it's anywhere below 40%, I'll just go ahead and plug it in. And then once it reaches full charge, I'll unplug it and continue working. But there have been some mornings where, I'll come down and sign in and it'll be like 70, 80%, something in the upper range there. And so I'll just use it for most of the day. And then at some point I'll plug it in for a few minutes just to make sure it's okay for me to go in the morning and not, if I forgot something, be in a problematic state if I had to grab the laptop and run for whatever reason. Not really a major concern since we're not working out of the office, but still, some habits kind of are difficult to break.
I think about that too. Like I'm the same. Like I kind of want to just make sure the battery doesn't get foobarred, and not even so. Not even. It's not even for being a responsible citizen. I just think it's such a beautiful machine that I don't want it to spoil in any way. Even though it's not even mine and I didn't pay for it, I just want to. It doesn't deserve that kind of life, and so
yeah.
So I try to keep it worked out. So
I after using it for a little bit, I am happy with my 14-inch decision for personal.
Me too.
And it's interesting. The 16 does fit in the 15-inch slot for the Messenger. So if you have a V1 or V2 Peak Design Everyday Messenger, it does fit. It's whenever they changed to drop the 15-inch from the lineup and only offer the 13-inch that you have a problem.
You have the V1, right?
I have the V1 and the V2. I have the V. Well, technically I don't have the V1 anymore because the V1 had an issue with the fabric, and I had to get it exchanged under warranty, and it's like the V1.5, where it's not exactly the same as the V2, but it's where they added the luggage strap to the V1.
So is it better than the V1? But
yeah, it's a slight improvement over the V1. It was like shortly after launch, a refinement in what they did before they officially launched the V2.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So a slight difference.
I felt like there was like one more thing I wanted to say, and I don't remember what it was.
I don't remember. Did we ever, at some point, I think we mentioned it on the show, you wanted to look at like the travel tripod and the creator stuff. We've never done that, have we?
No, we haven't. I feel like I should bring your ladder to you and maybe make that happen.
I also need to give you the amplify antennas.
Yeah. I need to
mesh points.
Yep.
I think we just need to make a visit happen before too long.
Yeah.
Should we get into that actual topic that you?
Yeah.
A couple of topics.
I think because I can't remember what else I was gonna say. So yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
Nice long pre-flight. I like that.
Right. it's kind of a topic. It's the topic is pre-flight.
Yeah.
So I saw a thing. It was I guess it would be considered graffiti, but it was so nicely done. But it was in Atlanta. They'd already made some graffiti on a wall. It was a picture of Trump with a MAGA hat, and it said, "MAGA, my ass got arrested." And I was amused quite a bit by that. And I was also watching Yellowstone last night, and I had recently seen where somebody who was super conservative talking about, like I ask people, and if they say they like Yellowstone, then I know that they're they think the way I do, and I'm like, that's probably true. But then I'm like, but don't you watch the show? Because it's like every political thing is like a very comes from a left-leaning position. I know that that's like that kind of lifestyle seems to overlap with a conservative mindset, but I mean, just like the way they handle indigenous people's rights or lack thereof, and on an episode that I watched last night, how this judge was going on about the rule of law, and I'm just like, or the context of him going on about rule of law was like he was enforcing the rule of law because it was very much benefiting corporations and very much endangering someone who was like protesting and or punishing someone who was protesting. And so it's just like, it's like everything that's brought up, it's like I can't imagine. It doesn't surprise me that it goes over there, or it goes unnoticed to be charitable, but it's just it's pretty obvious to me, that this is this along with so many other Hollywood works is just like, we'll try to we'll put the frock on that you want to see to express our views. And so I got to thinking about, like, what does it even mean to be a Republican anymore? And I came up with like a short list of, like, they're not fiscally conservative anymore, because that used to be their thing. At least in the 90s, that was that was the last time that they seemed to be touting it reasonably. But even then, that wasn't the case. They don't actually believe in the rule of law because they want the last Republican president to go unscathed for the laws that he broke. They're no longer anti-big government, and they don't actually. I think you added evangelical, and I thought, yeah, they don't really fit the actual definition of what it means to be evangelical Christian. They're skewing what's in the Bible and what Christianity actually stands for. So it's like, what does it mean to be Republican?
And since I did add evangelical, just to add a little footnote there, it's also not just religion that they're evangelical about, which is why I didn't uh, further classify that. Because if you look at some of them, it's the evangelism about falsehoods and misinformation surrounding election interference. It's more that instead of being reasoned and measured and attempting to recognize either different viewpoints or facts in some instances or whatever, it's a adherence to a personal belief or opinion with such fervor that it drowns out other things. Um, and that's dangerous. I mean, that's ridiculously dangerous. It's unfortunate that it does tend to be centered more around skewing religious beliefs and thoughts or philosophies, however you want to classify that subset of evangelism, but it's not limited to that subset of evangelism.
Like I kind of wonder, it's like uh, the irony of so many positions is all over, um, everywhere, and it's just, am I? eh, Are there any? It's not that there aren't any. There's certainly smart ones left because they're gaming the system in a way that is unconscionable. But the people I know just aren't, and the people I've seen interviewed, they're just not. They're so contradict. They contradict themselves so much. It's just like un. It's almost unbelievable. It's only not unbelievable because we've lived with it so long.
It's so I had a thought when I was reading over the notes that it might be applicable. There's a there's almost a sense of an intelligent approach to try to make everything so comically absurd that it reinforces the idea that you can't trust what you see reported. The whole fake news, mainstream media shouldn't be listened
Yeah,
to, blah,
yeah.
blah, blah. That it almost feels like a crafted campaign to further weaken any level of belief or trust in any remaining mainstream news reporting organizations.
Yeah, that's not wrong. I don't think that's wrong.
Part of me also wonders, is that giving them too much credit? I don't know these people, so I can't necessarily make a determination on their level of thought as opposed to kind of a subconscious reinforcement of behaviors that drive the same general thing. Where do you draw the line between it's a conspiracy or a crafted campaign versus uh, just something that they're noticing works and gains ratings and kind of falling into the same pattern? Um,
I would expect a relatively small percentage of the leaders on the conservative side are doing this sort of crafting. I think most of it is like dumb luck.
and it goes back to why I added the evangelical piece, because it, not to say any of the others aren't dangerous as well. Like they all certainly pose their own threats in different ways, but when you get to a point where it's just passionately argue or passionately conveying an opinion as fact, everything else be damned, and being rewarded for it, I mean, that's a sign of complete chaos and a failure of any and all safeguards for progress or rational thought or like anything, right? Like that's a complete meltdown of any and all potential safeguards for anything. At that point, nothing matters. Like if you accept falsity without having some level of doubt or check just because it's proclaimed loudly and emphatically, that's it. Game over.
Well, then the combination of, I don't remember who said this, and maybe I should look it up, but the danger of religion is. Oh, maybe it was in our show from like 4 shows ago. What show is this? Yeah, 3 shows ago. The danger of religion is that people stop thinking, and when you stop thinking, you don't question things, and it's like you see, like I saw someone out there, saying, "All right, the election was stolen, and uh, um, but Biden is just a puppet, and the military and Trump are the ones who are actually running the government." And like they just, somebody has said this so many times, and then somebody who's hearing this responds with, "So you mean to say that Trump is responsible for this, extreme inflation that's, this high inflation that's occurring right now?" And they're like, "Well, yes." And the response to it was like, "Yes, but it was like to show what would have happened if Hillary had become president." I'm like, if you do the thing that you say your opponent shouldn't do, but then you go and like let's entertain all of the bullshit, and you say, "Yes, let's my opponent says they're going to do these things, and I'm against these things," but then you get into office and say, "Here, I'll give you those things that I was against my opponent doing," and now we're it's like, what was the goddamn point? We have a number of different ways set up for you to get in touch with us to provide feedback, ask questions, or just comment in about something we've discussed.
You can hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at untitled_hosts, or shoot an email over to untitled.hosts@gmail.com.
Or get in touch directly with Jesse at jthart.com, or get in touch with me, John, via telepathy.
If you would like to support our work or are interested in listening to our new after show feed, head over to patreon.com/theUntitledPodcast and take a look at the options we have set up.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you've enjoyed the show.
And we hope to connect with more of you as we continue this journey.
That's a wrap. I paused and I'm struggling because it's like that. There's another component to it as well, where the people saying these things, or the people wanting to proliferate these ideas and concepts and all, want to always latch on to, well, you're just the one listening to what's being told and you're not thinking for yourself. And it's so difficult to be able to truly appreciate how hypocritical and ironic at the same time that is, right? It's if you think that you are not being sheep and thinking for yourself just because you came up with something that is different than what is being reported by a news organization, regardless of what news organization it is, or loosely affiliated with the news organization if that's your source of truth, questioning it doesn't make you smart. Like that's the thing that always has bugged me about that line of it's really combative, just argumentative verbal abuse at that point, to be honest. But that argument, the whole, well, you're just a sheep, you're just following what you're being told. No, those are not. It's such a false equivalency that it almost can't be explained, right? Like, just because I come to the same conclusion as some news organization or journalistic reporting doesn't mean that I didn't do some level of digging and understanding and fact checking and everything else. It just means I'm capable of rational thought, and I came to the same conclusion that this particular source came to.
Yeah, you're also capable of critical thinking, and so yeah. I like how one time Neil deGrasse Tyson responded to a question about the 3 different major civilizations that have existed in the world that have pyramids, and they are separated by a significant amount of time and space. And that'd be the Mayans, the Cambodians, and the Egyptians. Duh. All three of those cultures. All three of those cultures had. They built great pyramids, and Egyptians being the largest of the pyramids, and it's like, oh, the idea that, oh, how they were separated by time and space. It's like, oh, aliens. Like I love. I am genuinely amused when people go to aliens for that kind of answer. And he just responded, probably not aliens. He's not saying no, it wasn't aliens. He's like, it just seems more likely that you give people the same problem, people of the same relative intelligence, the same problem, they're pretty likely to come up with the same solution. They execute it. They look kind of different. They execute it maybe a little bit differently, but it's basically the same solution to the same problem. And so it's not unlikely that you get a few thousand intelligent people that we come to the same conclusion.
I do love that that line of thought, but I thought of a wrench to throw, and I want to try throwing it and see what happens.
Yeah. Throw away.
So, and there are two possible outcomes to this, right? Like, one would be the determination that the particular group that I'm going to use this example for is just not intelligent or not as intelligent as peers, or something else. And so gun control or gun violence in general. On the world stage, we generally accept that most developed countries have comparable levels of intelligence. Not necessarily equal or better or worse, but most people don't think that America is purely stupid, even if the majority of the people who travel or American tourists tend to be looked down upon in other places.
There are other
science in America is still positive, right? How is it then that we're the only country that has decided that guns aren't the problem, people are the problem?
I mean, that one's pretty easy. The problem with our country is corruption. It's like, why have, I'm going to flip it around on another issue that we rant about, and that's healthcare. It's like, if healthcare is so fucking hard to solve, why have 32 out of the 33 developed nations of the world figured it out and not us?
And just to help drive that point home, the other 32 also
don't have gun control issues.
Gun violence.
Yes, right. Same thing. If gun violence is such a big fucking issue, why have the other 32 countries solved it and we haven't? It's not that we haven't. It's not that we can't solve the issue. It's not that they don't. It's we refuse to solve the issues.
And that's that wording. That's what I wanted to get to, because if you go back to the topic and talk about how we'll take the evangelical piece specifically, but the way in which so many Republican self-proclaimed, very emphatically, verbally Republican candidates or representatives have approached topics is a refusal to acknowledge reality.